Welcome to the Quip Corner with Ada. This is an episode of the Quip and Combo segment. You'll see my guest bio right after this. I know that you'll thank me after you watch our time together. Welcome to the Quip and Convo segment of Quip Corner with Ada Brayden.
It is so great to be with you today.
Yeah, I think back to how we met virtually and clicked.
Yes, I felt that immediately. Um, we were at a CPA mentorship course,
Yes.
and I think there was a presentation going on, and
Mhm.
and you were dropping your quips there. And I never even knew the word quip before you, but
Okay.
I have been a really big fan of quotes,
Okay.
especially for the last couple of years. So
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing I saw and was immediately attracted to, right? And then just your positive vibes. I'm all
Hmm.
about trying to be as positive as possible. So yeah, it was like instantaneous connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great when
Well,
you meet people like that and you have
yes.
those instant connections,
Yeah.
right?
To your point, I think one of the things that it is a blessing because if we didn't have a virtual platform, we may never have met.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Good, good, good.
So we're making the best of what we got, right?
For sure, for sure. And I think that seems like it may tie in nicely into the quip you chose. Let's see. I need to get
Let's
my
hear it.
book. So it's quip 71. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yes. And so the quip you chose to talk about today is your best success is becoming a better version of yourself each day. Okay. Why did you pick that one?
Yeah, well, I live this. I live, breathe, eat, exercise this every day. Um, I started this journey
Mm-hmm.
uh about a year and a half ago of really focusing on becoming the best version of myself. And so the past year and a half or so, I've been working on becoming very disciplined in my daily life.
Okay.
And that led to me developing this life purpose that I now am following the best I
Mm-hmm.
can, which is to become the best version of myself
Yeah.
and then help others to do the same through growth, integrity, and kindness.
Ooh.
So I kind of use that as my filter for all my life decisions. And so the way I start out my day, touching on this quip of becoming a better version of yourself each day, is it might sound a little crazy. I wake up at 3 a.m. and I go to the gym every single day. And I've done that
Okay.
for about
I
a
mean, I'm
year.
still smiling in my heart. Don't worry about my face.
Yeah, I
My
know.
face is in shock.
I tend to get that look, and then a lot of "you're crazy" or "why." Um, Now, it wasn't one day I just decided I'm going to do
Yeah.
it, right? But it evolved into that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have this whole morning routine of exercising and then journaling, praying now, because I
Mm-hmm.
actually found Jesus the last year, which has
Yeah.
been probably the best thing that's ever happened in my life.
Yep.
Um, so it's absolutely incredible. But
Mm-hmm.
maybe rewinding the tape into how this all got started. I was a chunky kid at one point in high school, probably grade 10 or so, and very low self-esteem, low self-image. And I decided, you know what, this is enough of this,
Mm-hmm.
and decided that I was going to get into better shape, right? And it
Nice.
all started, quite honestly, out of vanity, not liking my appearance. And then I lost 45 pounds. And my life just became a lot better. My
Better.
confidence was way better.
Yeah.
And the years went by and I was kind of always into fitness, but
Mm-hmm.
I came across this one podcast of this remarkable individual. His name's Wes Watson, and he has a very interesting story. So he's a very good person now, but he wasn't always. And
Okay.
he was a drug dealer, and
Mm.
he was doing bad stuff, right? Trying to make money in very bad ways. And eventually it caught up with him, right? That
Yeah.
bad stuff. And he went to prison for
Mm-hmm.
10 years or so. And he started realizing, this way of life that I've been living, I thought it would get me to where I needed to be, but I was going down the wrong path this whole time. And he totally switched things around and started reversing his ways and focusing on helping himself and helping others. So he started becoming really disciplined with
Mm-hmm.
exercising. And so in prison, he'd get up at 2:45 a.m. and work out. And then he'd help all the other inmates, all these flawed people, right, become
Yeah.
better people.
Yeah.
And anyway, you listen to his podcast. He's a pretty intimidating guy, but very inspiring. And something about his story just triggered something in me.
Mm.
And then I started getting up 6 a.m., which was still very early for me because I've been a night owl for all of my life, pretty much, go to bed at 10 p.m. and then watch Netflix for a couple hours so I could go to sleep and then
Yeah.
wake up 9 a.m. maybe, go straight into the workday.
Mm-hmm.
But his whole philosophy is to first essentially like pay yourself first by going and taking care of your
Of
health
you.
first
Yep. Yep.
before you go and even start your job.
Mm-hmm.
Place yourself before the job.
Yeah.
And so I started doing this because I was inspired by him and working out. And then I was like, you know what, this feels really good. Right.
Mm.
And
Nice.
and I was feeling more confident in myself.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing he preaches too is that when you fill up your own cup, now you can fill up the cups of others,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And
I mean, you can't
so
pour out of an empty cup.
exactly. And so the whole idea here is to start the day and fill up your cup each and
Yeah.
every day by becoming a better version of yourself. And then that
Nice.
way your cup's overflowing and now you
Nice.
just have to give it out. You feel this
Nice.
need to serve and help others. So
Ooh.
then I started using my Instagram to share quotes,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's other people's quotes or quotes that come to my
Come
mind
to
of
you.
working
Yeah.
out and feeling inspired,
Yeah.
and just trying to help others
Uh-huh.
follow the same path that I'm on to better myself every day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. It's interesting how listening to other people's stories inspire us into action. So thanks for sharing that.
Oh,
When you
absolutely.
started and you talked about what I'd call almost like your three pillars. You talked about growth, integrity, and kindness. Yeah. um Being the CPA that I am, I couldn't help but go straight to GIK, which stands for gifts in kind.
Mm.
you know and it just occurred to me that those three things are also gifts in kind, because
Oh,
in
yeah. Great connection. Wow.
because when you're growing and supporting others to grow, it's not like you're paying them or anything. It's a service. Same thing with integrity. Because really your integrity is valuable, especially when it benefits others. And of course,
Absolutely.
kindness.
Hmm.
We can't overstate kindness. So nice, nice. I like those three pillars.
Yeah,
Nice.
we should maybe build up on each of those three pillars. So I was just thinking about the integrity piece.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing there that I think is so important is to learn how to make promises to yourself, but then more importantly, to actually hold them. Because if you can't even hold a promise to yourself, how are you going to hold it to someone else, right?
It's back to the put yourself on the to-do list and pay yourself first, right?
Yeah.
Nice connection. Ooh, that is true, though.
And I think we can all think of examples of people in our lives where you see them making promises to themselves where they say, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get into shape, or I'm going to do that. And then they don't do it. And then when they make promises to others, they're not very reliable. So you got to be able to be reliable to yourself if you're going to be reliable to others, I believe.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. But you know, the other thing too, the flip side to that is there are people who are good at keeping promises to others, but just never think about themselves.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that is being unkind, not just to yourself, but to everybody, because, you know, I keep saying self-care is not selfishness. You know, it's self first, because if you're not in shape, if you're not healthy, if you're not whole, even emotionally, you know, what do you have to give?
Absolutely. And I think those people who are very selfless in helping others and never thinking of themselves, I think if those people did take the time to think of themselves and improve themselves and nurture themselves, that they would just be that much better at nurturing others. I think.
I agree. I agree. I agree. Because to that point, sometimes people who are selfless don't take the time to grow, and you can only give what you've got.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then unfortunately, some selfless people then get bitter and resentful of others. It's almost like, I did all this for you and you have moved up in levels. And it's like, yeah, but I didn't stop you from growing.
And this reminds me of a conversation I had at the gym this morning. There's several people
at 3 a.m.
I went a little later today.
Okay.
But there are some people there at that time. There's a very close friend I have, Luke, and he's a plumber. He owns his own plumbing business. And he's an extremely hard worker and extremely passionate about his family and his fitness, and he's just killing it, right? But there's also this other guy, James, that I had a conversation with today, and he's very much about the personal development and becoming a better person. And we had this exact same conversation, Ada, after my workout
this
morning. And it was this whole idea of, if you try to help others, but you aren't whole yourself or not growing yourself, when you help others, you're probably going to be more likely to expect something in return. But if you are able to fill up your cup, you're able to give the overflow to others, and you don't need anything else in your cup because your cup's already full. So you're much better at serving others and not having some sort of expectation of getting something in return.
That's true. Wow. It's, you know, it's interesting how one quip can take you in so many different directions.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. So Ada, what do you do to become a better version of yourself each day? I'm curious to hear.
Of course, I pray, you know, I start off with, Lord, help me today. You know, how are we going to get through today?
That's the very first thing you do?
Yes.
Lovely.
And then one of my personal mantras is WLED. We learn every day. And so I am actively hunting for a learning. And when I learn something, and for me, it doesn't have to be earth-shattering. When I learn something, I celebrate it. There are
I love
times
that.
when at work, someone just shows me a new keystroke. I'm like, they didn't know that. Sometimes, it could be the most basic of things. I remember a few months ago, one of my children came home over the break and he said to us, you have been using this can opener the wrong way. And he just showed us how to use it. And he was like, what?
Yeah.
For the longest time. Okay. And the thing about this particular can opener, he was teaching us how to use. We've had that can opener for over 20 years. But each time we're using it, we're struggling with the can to position it so that we can open it. And then, because it's a multifunction can opener, we use it for other things. We're like, whatever, let's go buy something that works, not realizing that we were not using it the way it was designed. So for me, it's from the mundane to the magnificent, but it's just, what can I learn today? What's my takeaway from today? So that's how I become a better version of myself. And as much as I can, I pass on what I've learned to others because I found that in sharing, it sticks.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Like they always say, when you teach something, you learn it a second time. And I love that idea of not just focusing on, okay, today I got to learn something absolutely earth-shattering, right? It can be the small things. And I guess that plays into that saying that you always hear, become 1% better every day. And there's truly this compounding effect that happens. You might learn one day how to better use your can opener that you've had for 20 years. Now that's maybe saved you a little bit of time so that you can read an extra page in your book.
Yes.
Every week. And now you're learning a little bit more. And then from that thing you learned in the book, now you're applying it to some other area of life. And now things just compound and it's like making an investment, and all of a sudden you're getting more and more interest out of it. So I love that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah.
And I think even that can opener, that can be applied to so many areas of life. Like, how many people do you know they have something they're struggling with or something they're doing, and they've been doing it the exact same way for 20 years, just like you tried to use that can opener incorrectly.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, somebody shows you how to properly use it, and your mind's blown. And all of a sudden, after 20 years, now you're using it correctly,
Yeah. Yeah. So but you see, the other learning from that is, apart from the inefficiency, is we need to recognize that the fact that something doesn't seem to work doesn't mean there's something wrong with that item. Sometimes it may just be the way we're using it. So just think about even our devices, our phones and, iPads or tablets or whatever. A lot of us don't know all the different functionalities. And then we're saying, but my phone doesn't do this. My phone doesn't do that. But the point is, do you know where the menu for that is? So it's interesting.
Well, yeah, and your phone can be used for so many good things.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it can be a total hindrance.
Yes.
Where you see people all over, they can't handle 1 minute because it makes them uncomfortable. And they got this little thing in their pocket that they can pull out to avoid that discomfort.
Yeah.
But now they don't even know how to be happy just by themselves in a room with nothing, which I think is pretty important to be able to do, right?
Yeah, that's a miserable way to live. I agree. I agree.
Mhm.
I
And I
agree.
mean, I used to be pretty bad with that, right? I've been getting
Mm-hmm.
a lot better on really focusing on limiting my screen time
Mm-hmm.
and also things like meditation. Do you meditate?
Well, I meditate on Bible verses, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I've started doing that too lately. Like as I mentioned, I started going to church about 8 months ago. It
Mm-hmm.
was a totally new thing for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm glad to
and
hear that you found Jesus, and definitely he always walks by us as we want to become better because his desire is for us to be better, right?
yeah, it's just that pure goodness. And
Yes.
I've noticed that because admittedly, I feel like I've always been a bit of a control freak in my own life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wanting to control everything. And
Mm-hmm.
the reality is we only have control of so much.
Yeah.
And I've found that since finding Jesus, it's helped me to let go of some of that and be able to live in the moment, have faith rather than fear about
Yes.
future circumstances, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And boy, it's been an incredible journey, and I'm just so
Nice.
incredibly grateful
Right.
for
Nice.
finding him, right?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Wow, wow. Well, thanks, Brayden, for your time with me in the Quip Corner. We should try and do
Absolutely.
this again later this year.
Absolutely. I'm looking at the list of quips here and I want to talk about all of them. So I would love that, Peter.
Okay, okay. Well, thanks again. I really appreciate you spending
Thank
a
you.
few moments of your day after a gym time.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Thank you. God bless you.
Okay, God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye. Was I right or was I right? I told you. Yes, definitely a lovely, lovely conversation. And I look forward to having Brayden in the Quip Corner again later this year. Okie dokie. See you in another episode of the Quip Corner with Ada. I know. And that's to become a better version of yourself every day. Take care.